Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends Baron Zemo. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember, you can now hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Quite simply show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are taking a look at this brand new Marvel Legends Baron Zemo. Now, over in the US, this is going to be a Walgreens exclusive. Over here in the UK, we do not have Walgreens, so it's just a regular fan channel release, and you can buy this figure in all of the places you buy your Marvel Legends. I just happened to get mine from In Demand Toys. I will put the link in the description as always, but as I said, you can buy it from any of your favorite spots that sell Marvel Legends, and I for one am very happy to get this figure in hand, as I sort of class him as an A-list villain, especially when it comes to Captain America. And we have recently got that very nice updated 20th anniversary Captain America, which I think will pair very nicely with this Baron Zemo. And it is the first Baron Zemo we have got in 8 years. The last one we got was in 2014 during the Mandroid Builder figure wave. And even that version was a little bit more modern. It was the modern take of Baron Zemo, more of the Thunderbolts Baron Zemo, if you will. So it is nice that this new one is a more look of his classic sort of design. So I appreciate that. So I will find space for both of them on the collection. It's not just a straight up switcheroo. But in the box, we get no Build-A-Figure piece. But the box itself is, of course, based on that Supervillains wave that we got last year with the Zemu Build-A-Figure with the green and the purples. So it fits very nice. All of the figures in this Walgreens exclusive lineup in 2022 are going to be Supervillains based. We already know the next one is going to be Jigsaw, another one I am very much excited to get in hand. We don't know who the other two are just yet, but still, it looks like a good year for these exclusives. I apologise to my US friends. Hopefully, things start getting a little bit better this year. But as I said, I will open this guy up today, comparing to his previous versions. There he's in the box with his interchangeable hands and, of course, his sword as well. As I said, more classic threads. There he is on the side of the box, just up there, a bit shadowy down there. On the back, big write-up, no wave association. As I said, it's a single packed exclusive. But up here, we do get a little bio that reads, Baron Zemo. Born into greatness and great darkness, Helmut Zemo is a man of terrific and terrible genius. The 13th Baron Zemo has sworn everlasting vengeance against his family's nemesis, Captain America. So as I said, he will pair very nicely with all the caps we've already got on the shelf. But let's talk no more. Let's get him open. So here we have Zemo out of the packaging with all of his accessories. And first impressions, apart from the lackluster accessories, which I'll get into in a second, I do like the overall look and silhouette and aesthetic of this Zemo. I always say it, but I want my mind's eye versions of these comic book characters on my shelf. And this is my mind's eye version of a classic Zemo with those rich purples and the contrasting bright yellow gloves and boots with the fur, with the polka dot. Yeah, this is very nice. Even his WWE Championship bout is very accurate to what we see on the comic pages. So no complaints on the overall look of Zemo. The figure itself is an amalgamation of both new and old Marvel Legends, as the arms and the sort of upper torso are sort of new pieces that we have got recently on the Dormammu and Red Skull with the double jointless pinless arms, but the legs still have the pins and they are just standard bookie cap legs. But yeah, comparing this to the previous Zemo, if I bring him in, I will do a better comparison as we move along. You can see how they're two different generations of Zemo. This is more classic looking, this is more modern looking. I do think they're the same character, of course, just with different character designs. But I do think this new one is like the one that people have been wanting for a long time. As I said, we haven't had a Zemo for 8 years, so people are going to be very happy. So before we do any straight up comparisons, let's first look at what we've got brand new here. And yeah, let's zoom in and take a closer look. So starting up top at the head sculpt, I do think they have nailed this Zemo. It isn't reused from the previous one. It is a straight up new sculpted head, and of course I'll do a closer comparison shortly. But first, look at these sculpted lines on the mask. They sit so flushly now with the sculpted lines on the neck and on this collar piece. Even the collar piece itself is a separate bit of plastic sculpted on there, so there's some nice contrast with the different purples. But yeah, those lines sit so flushly from the mask to the neck to the collar, and not only are they sculpted, they have actually done some dark wash in all those sculpted lines to really make them pop and stand out. So I really appreciate it when they go the extra mile. Like, there's no denying that this sort of headpiece is spot on Zemo. We've got those gold metallic ear defenders with that sort of gold headpiece. We've got the whited out eyes that do seem to have a little hint of silver in there, but you can even see the creases around the nose and the eyes to sort of see that evil expression even under the sort of cloth mask. So yeah, that is really nicely sculpted, really nicely painted. So yeah, no complaints with me on this head sculpt. Bravo, looks great. Moving to the shoulders, they've got those white tufts of sort of fur with the black polka dots, and this piece is sort of been designed in a way where it will move with the articulation of the arm. So if I spin the arm around, it's going to move with the arm. It's not going to hinder the articulation, is my point. You can see that little tab in there, which means it's attached to the inner workings of the articulation. When you move the arms out a little bit though, you will see it gets a little bit gappy, so you will have to sort of hit that flush if you're taking pictures. But again, not breaking up any of the articulation, which is a big deal to a lot of people. These arms are, of course, the double jointed pinless arms that we got with Red Skull and Dormammu, so we know that is a great range. Like, you cannot complain with that. Like, you can't get better. The guy can scratch his own ear. So yeah, that is really nice. So no complaints there on the arms. The gloves down here have that sort of polka dot, not polka dot, that's pinstriped lines, and it's sort of done in a dark purple as well, so it matches the design onto the hand. Same on this side as well, the sort of gloves and that pinstripe design. And again, really nice fabric on the arms and shoulders, looking good. Moving down now here to the torso, we can see this WWE Championship bout. Now I say that as a light joke, but it is sort of a big bout for the guy. This is just cast in a solid sort of gold metallic plastic, and there is no way to take it off. It is fully attached to the figure. There is no clasps there to take it off. And you can see this piece here sort of covers the ab crunch. So does it hinder it? I think so, a little bit. So he will obviously bend backwards, that much. Bending forwards, however, you're going to see the bout sort of bend with the articulation. So he will bend, like he's moving forward. There you go, he's crunched forward, but now you can see the bout is sort of flexed, the plastic, sorry, is flexed there. So will that warp over time? Like, it even warped a little bit just then. So yeah, will that warp over time? Maybe. Will that bother some people? Maybe. But he will still move. I think that's going to be the most important part. So it depends how much you're posing your Baron Zemo, depends how much that's going to be an issue. But yeah, that is just something to take note of. And as I said, that is solid piece that's not coming off. I suppose if you heat it up, cut it off, you could, but why would you want it? This is how we looked in the comics. Moving down to the legs, you can see these are the same bulky cap legs we got on the previous one with the pins, of course. The previous one had the pirate boots. This one now has his own Baron Zemo boots. No details on the yellow boots, of course. And then we've got the sort of tufts of fur with the black polka dots, and nicely hides the boot swivel. So the boot swivel is there. The legs will double joint pretty well. It would go further back if the fur wasn't there, but still, that's pretty good. Also swivel up there at the top of the thigh. Legs go out okay, to be fair. Forward pretty good. So yeah, as I said, the figure itself is an amalgamation of new and old Marvel Legend pieces, but it does create a very nice classic looking Zemo that I ain't going to complain about. As I said, even the pinstripes there on the gloves and the wrist there are nice. The little black polka dot tufts of fur, the sculpted lines with the wash, really nice. And the purple and yellow has always been a highlight for me. But yeah, we get one fisted hand on the figure, which is disappointing. Where's our second fisted hand so we can have some fisticuffs with Captain America? That's a little bit frustrating, but we've got one fisted hand, so we can at least punch with that hand. The second hand is a sword-bearing hand. Now let me show you why. So the sword itself, I'll do a comparison with the sword in a second, but the hand itself is hinged up and down, so you can get some great sword wielding poses, which is perfect. So I appreciate that extra little attention to detail there. Rather than just a grippy hand, we now have a sword bearing hand, so he can challenge people to some duels and fight properly. And as I said, he will And it grips the sword very nicely as well, to be fair. Like, that is not falling out no matter how you pose him. But he can, like, now get it posed up like that, or obviously get him like that. So yeah, I do like the hinge for the sword. All the other hands are hinged as normal, side to side, but the sword one is up and down. Nowhere on the figure to store the sword, of course, so you're probably going to want to hold it on a display. As I said, I always quite like a pose like that, like he's ready to fight or something like that. But yeah, he does come with a set of interchangeable hands, so let me show you them. And here we have the two C-grip hands with nothing to grip onto. These are the only other accessories he comes with, as well as the sword, of course. They do have the pinstripes as well, so they do match with the rest of the figure. And of course, he will still hold the sword in these hands, but now, obviously, they don't have the hinge up and down. He is a little bit more limited to the poses he can do with a sword, but you can use him to hold the sword if you wanted to. It would have been nice for him to come with his classic gold gun. There was definitely room in the box. Now, he doesn't have a trigger finger hand to hold the gun, but if you do have the previous Baron Zemo gun, which is this one, of course, he will still hold it with these C-grip hands, and maybe you could cut there and put the finger in there if you wanted to mod it a little bit. But yeah, he doesn't come with a gold gun. It would have been great for him to come with that classic gold gun, but this will do. I'm sure you can find one in your collection maybe, but that's the old gun. But yeah, this Baron Zemo itself doesn't come with any guns, just the interchangeable hands and the sword. So let's compare it. Here we have a comparison of both the Zemos from the modern Hasbro era. I say modern Hasbro era, but the previous Zemo was over 8 years ago now, in 2014, and is based on his more modern look of the time compared to this new classic looking Zemo. So again, it is going to be a preference on what version of Zemo you prefer, but I do think this new one is going to be more popular at the end of the day. And they are different in scale as well. If I move them to the side and bring in the tape measure, you can see the new Zemo itself is just under 6.5 inches, where the previous Zemo sat at about 6.25 inches. And not only in height do they scale differently, I do think in like broadness, the new Zemo is a little bit thicker up top compared to the previous Zemo on that Bucky Cat body. Even the heads are a different sort of size. And if I zoom in and show you the heads, you can see that the new head is a completely different sculpt, especially during that headpiece as well. It's a lot more subtle on the new one compared to the previous. The previous head was very glossy as well, but even the sort of sculpted wrinkles of the face and the expression behind the mask are different. And again, that Bucky Cat body only had the lines painted, so they didn't sit flushly like with the mask compared to those nicely sculpted lines on the new mask. So the new Zemo wins out all day long. The swords, however, are exactly the same in regards to sculpt. They are just different decos. The new Zemo one is just gold with the silver. The previous Zemo had the sort of brown handle with the gold highlights, but they are the same sculpted sword, just different deco. Other than that, two different versions of character design for Baron Zemo. You let me know which is your favourite in the comments below, but I do think the champion has the championship belt because that is the better Zemo, in my opinion. Another Baron Zemo comparison, this time comic versus MCU, as we have the recent Disney Plus Baron Zemo, but of course, we want to see his mask on, as it is always fun to see how the MCU take on some of these classic comic designs, which sometimes can be a little bit silly, into a live action element. And I think they've done a pretty good job with Baron Zemo, let's be honest, even though we didn't see the mask for too long in the actual show. But we've seen it. And the unmasked Daniel Buell head does fit on this classic Zemo if you wanted to do that for some weird reason. The head does look a little bit small on this broad body though. But the actual comic Zemo has like a messed up scarred face, so I don't think this would work even for a comic unmasked head either. And of course, that doesn't work either, but was fun to see. And moving on to some villain comparisons, here we have Baron Zemo compared to Red Skull and Ultron. And I say this all the time, but we really are living in the golden age of action figures, especially Marvel Legends. As look at recently, we have got 3 iconic classic villains in their classic looks, and these just look really good together. And as I mentioned right at the start, Red Skull does share some parts with this Baron Zemo, mainly in the arms. But yeah, all good. Staying with the villain comparisons, here we have Baron Zemo compared to a couple of random members of the Masters of Evil. While Baron Zemo was the lead, it is of course Whirlwind and Bulldozer from the Wrecking Crew. And Hasbro, let's give the Wrecking Crew another go, shall we? They're pretty hard to get now, and I know you can do a better job. So yeah, again, Baron Zemo can fit in many places in the collection. including controlling his own sort of Hydra goons, as you can pair this Baron Zemo with some Hydra soldiers for display. A quick cosmic villain comparison with another classic villain in Doctor Doom, and of course the very recent Skrull army builders. And the comparison that most people wanted to see, here we have Baron Zemo with his nemesis, which is of course Captain America. So a couple of different versions here, with the Onslaught version with this new 20th anniversary unmasked head. But let me move them out of the way, because it's all about this pairing here. These classic looking colours really do pop, and these two are going to make some very nice ACBA poses battling each other on the shelf, as this 20th anniversary Captain America in that blue really does pop against the yellows and purples of Baron Zemo. So yeah, these two will undoubtedly look great fighting together on your display. Here we have Baron Zemo compared to a couple of Iron Men, as we have the AI Iron Man and of course the Invincible Iron Man. And talking about characters that pop on the shelf, these three really do make a pretty good pairing. We have Frogman and of course Tigray, aka Tigra. And of course, last but not least, you know what they say, it's not the size of your sword, it's how you use it. And Excalibur is a little bit bigger, let's be honest. But here we have Captain Britain and of course Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on Baron Zemo. If you couldn't tell, of course I like this figure. I am a little bit sad that these Walgreens exclusives seem to be hard to get over in the US, as I know a lot of people are going to want to get their hands on this figure, as it really is a great representation of a classic Baron Zemo from the comics, and he's going to pair up very nicely with some of the other classic villains we have got recently, and even people like Captain America as well. The only thing about the figure that's disappointing for me is the lack of accessories. When it's a single packed exclusive, when you don't need to put a Build-A-Figure piece in the box, there is more room for pieces. I would have liked a set of fisted hands. I know it's a small thing, but it makes a difference for posing up, and maybe an interchangeable head and a masked head would have been a nice look. Maybe his classic gun would have been a good touch as well. So yeah, lack of accessories is disappointing for an exclusive figure, and also it's sort of upper body and head is perfect, spot on, but then below the waist it's all old Marvel Legend pieces, apart from the cuffs around the boots of course. So it would have been nice to have a completely pinless Baron Zemo, as aesthetically it would have just made it perfect. But we still have the pins in the legs, and that again, it just breaks up the really nice aesthetic of the upper torso and the arms and being pinless and etc. So again, another small gripe, but when you know that technology exists, it is always disappointing to see them go halfway, and I'm sure they have their reasons, but again, just as a consumer, I would love to see a completely pinless figure rather than half and half. But there is no denying that this is a classic looking Zemo, that it looks very nice. It's going to pop on display, that is for sure. As I said, plenty of places in the collection where he can go, whether it's with the Masters of Evil or with your Hydra army, or just fighting Captain America. It's always going to be a character that's going to find a place on the shelf very easy. And yeah, the colours just pop, what can I say? So bravo, overall, really like it. But you let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this the Zemo you have been waiting 8 years for? Or do you reckon they should have went a different direction? Always curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. And of course, you know what to do. If you like Marvel Legends and you like talking toys, then you're on the right channel. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button. You can also hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much, much appreciated. And remember, if you join the members club, you can be part of the channel and be on the channel during my live streams, all right? So don't be shy. Get involved with the community we're building over here, and let's talk some toys together right here on the channel. And yeah, you let me know what you think about Zemo in the comments. But as always, follow me on Instagram. It's Dan Who. And I'm on Twitter as well, at Dan Who Reviews. Tweet me. Don't be shy. My name's Dan W. And I'll, of course, see you on the next one.